My name is Rosa, and I am a crocheter, and I've been crocheting for about, I'm going to say, 9 or 10 years. And I mostly make yarn toys. It's called amigurumi, which is a Japanese word that actually means yarn toys. And that is kind of my specialty, my niche. And for the most part, they're all based on, in some loose way, on children's books. It was towards the end of my career, and I was like, oh, I need a side hustle. I need to start thinking about, the future. So I always loved children's books. And when my children were little, I remember my favorite books were the ones that came with little characters. And the one that always stuck out was Goodnight Moon. It's a story about a bunny going to bed. I don't know. Some people might be familiar with it. So I started doing research on how to make toys. Well, first, how do you buy them? Like, can you buy them in bulk? Can I pair them? That was a dumb idea. And anyway, I stumbled onto this technique, and it was getting very popular, called amigurumi. So I said, So I bought some yarn and a hook, and I decided to try to learn how to do that. So I spent a lot of time just playing with it, videos, until I could, come up with an animal, or, till I could do it. And then from there, I, started designing them so that they were like the characters in the books. And then that's how that whole thing got started. So, especially with amigurumi, it's very, I don't want to say controversial, but different people have very different opinions on pricing specifically. I personally do have a system. I have an engineering background, so everything's about spreadsheets and data. So if I'm going to, I will describe my pricing strategy. So if I'm going to price something, I have a, let's say I have a thing, right? And this cactus consists of 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. And it's so many stitches, right? So what I do is I take the pattern, count up how many stitches, I assign a monetary value to the stitches. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2 is how complicated is it to make? Then I say, okay, I had assembled 4 pieces. I assign a monetary value to how much to assemble 4 pieces. And then maybe add a factor because there's stuffing and there's, overhead. And then I calculate the cost of materials. So my labor, and then there's a reality, as my kids like to say, then it's the vibes, right? So I plug in my formula. It spits out, okay, this thing you can, $20, whatever it is. And then I have to look at it and I have to say, okay, if I am someplace, am I going to pay $20 for this? If the answer is maybe, then I'll try it. I'll price it that way. If it's no, I'm not going to spend $20 for a cactus plant, I think it's worth 10. Then I will adjust it up or down based on vibes. That's me. Everybody prices things differently. My cost of materials is cheap. And to be honest, people are giving away yarn every other day. So if somebody's giving away yarn, I jump on it, I look at it, and if it's going to work for me, I take it. So my cost of materials is pretty negligible, and then it all depends on the effort, the labor. Now, for me personally, I would like to cover my costs, right? So that's studio rent, and materials, advertising, and whatever. That's different, right? So now I have a target. So what I do and the time I'm willing to spend on it, I don't, making and selling product just isn't gonna do it, because it's just, I can't produce enough, and I have other things that I am doing. So I started teaching. When you add that level of that new stream of income, then it's a different story. So now you have a whole new market you can kind of go after. And for me, that is the cash, the actual big work that allows me to have a space like this and create the work that I've been creating. So I don't know. I think if you're going to talk to 20 different artists, they do it 20 different ways for 20 different reasons. So for me personally, I'm not doing it necessarily to make a profit, but I'm also the type of person that needs a metric, needs a target. So if my metric is I want to be able to cover my expenses, then I can work backwards. How do I get to that place? And ultimately the goal is to be able to have fun and creating what I want to create and exploring like whatever else. So it may branch out into others. My classes, the classes that I teach are for people that have never done it, like maybe never picked up a hook, never, they're coming in, oh, this looks so cool, I want to do it. So it's very difficult. I learned over time to find somebody that can teach from nothing, zero. So, and the way I do it, it's not project-based. So I can't advertise, oh, let's make this scarf. You just can't do it. It takes you the whole, the one-shot classes, the 2.5 to 3 hour workshops, and you're gonna come in, you're either gonna learn it or you're not. But so I do everything to teach you. If you don't think you got it, you're always invited to come back when I'm here during open studio with your questions. You can come visit me at some craft fair. I will answer your question. You can email me. I'm here for you. I'll give you private lessons and whatever. As far as teaching kids is tough because I have taught kids as young as 10 and they were awesome. I've taught some kids, maybe even a little older than 10, that just, I would say it's more of a patience kind of issue where it was just very frustrating and couldn't. So, and if I'm one-on-one with somebody, then that's fine. But when you're in a class of 6 people, 8 people, it gets a little more tricky. So kids, I will teach them, but usually I leave it to the discretion of the parents. If you think your child is ready to learn something like this and understanding that you need motor skills, you need to pay attention, you need concentration, and you need a will to learn. Anybody, no matter how old you are, you need a will to learn this because learning it is hard. Doing it once you know it is easy and relaxing and fun, but learning it is a challenge. My hot take is, especially if you're like me. So I am not somebody that grew up with art, always had that gene, but there was an interest. And if you have that interest and you start tugging on that string, you should just go with it. You shouldn't like say, oh, either I can't do that, or that's dumb, or in my case, that's an old lady hobby. You know, it's a female hobby. You know, just don't just do it. Start pulling on that string, and because if you like it, you just never know. Like in a million years, even when I picked up a hook and some yarn, I would have never guessed that, you know, nearly 10 years from now, I'm, you know, going to be spending my time in an art studio figuring out how to make things, how to design things, and how to sell things. So, and you know, for me, this is perfect. This is the perfect, you know, lifestyle. I am teaching. I have some classes here in October, but I'm also teaching at Concord Free Library. There's a couple of, you could go on their website, and those are free, I believe. And then in Lawrence Public Library, we're going to do like a 7-week drop-in. I'm going to pick a topic in crochet. People can come in, and I'm going to blather on about this technique, and people can either pay attention or just bring their stuff in crochet along. And I'm also going to teach 2 intro classes, so somebody can take the intro class and then join the little kind of meetup